afternoon, everybody. I'm Cam Stone, and you're watching the afternoon edition of the Star Phony. Your current time is 12 p.m. right on the nose. Today, we will be taking a look at the weather, alongside a sneak peek in what's next in sports, followed by a farmer's report from Pike Lake. First, however, we have a special guest bringing us the most up-to-date and user-friendly information on the new scientific field of biotechnology within plants. Over to you, James.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Cam. I'd love to be in the studio right now, but with the social distancing in place, I figured it'd be better if I just stayed home in my lab. Anyway, back to the point. So, what this new biotechnology in plants is simply put, you take the desirable genes from one plant and plant them in any other plant. So, what does this look like? And what is the goal? The goal being to give the plants more desirable traits or better attributes, and in turn, increase the yield from that plant. Sometimes, we put different genes into a plant to give it a trait that it's never had before, because sometimes we might find those useful. Now that sounds simple. Just pluck a gene out and huck it in another plant. But it takes precision and lots of skill. One technique that is often used, I like to call the metal prod. Scientists take a very tiny metal particle and coat the end of it with the desired strand of genetic information. By pushing into the cells of the plant, this results in the genome of the plant to be bombarded with new genetic information, resulting in new gene formation. The scientists then take the cells that have the desired DNA sequence and grow them into an entirely new plant, resulting in a plant with the genetic modification that the scientists desired. The second strategy is what I like to call the bacterial transfer. With bacterial transfer, we take a certain type of bacteria called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Pardon me, I'm not very good with my English. Which has been found to take and drop genetic information where it is desired in new cells. Scientists take advantage of this and would inject the desired gene and genetic information into the bacteria and then expose the plant cell to the bacteria, which would penetrate the plant cell and drop the genetic information right in the genome, making it modified. Now alongside this, there has been a mixed response, both negative and positive, to these genetic modifications, so to say. Some of these positives that come from genetic mutation in plants include the production of more food, the plants being more resistant to drought, the plants being more resistant to disease, and also the plants having longer shelf life. There's even prospects of some plants being able to use as food and medical treatment at the exact same time. All these things are excellent, especially in our rapidly growing population, and also those less fortunate countries who don't have the same access to equipment and farmland as we do. But there are two sides to every story, like everyone says, and many people are pushing against these genetic modifications for reasons of their own. Some of these reasons include that it may spike unknown allergies. They may bring possible harmful genetic changes to these plants, and these plants also might spread these genetic mutations to other plants that we do not want them to have, which would result in an uncontrollable outbreak. There are also moral and ethical issues which people are pushing back against. One being that God has created things in a certain way and we shouldn't be tampering with them. Also, one I find myself wondering about is when are these genetic mutations going to stop? I know I'm a researcher in the field, but sometimes I look ahead and I think, man, this could go too far and get in the wrong hands of the wrong people, and who knows what's going to happen. Overall, whether people like this field or not, it's going to keep advancing. And you're just going to have to live with it. Hopefully it doesn't affect anyone, but we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it could save your life one day. Thanks for listening to my little spiel here about genetic information, and I'll hand it right back to good old newscaster Cam. Take it away.
Well, thank you for that, James. Very interesting information. I too am actually interested to see where that goes along in the future. I mean, that's the first I've heard genetic modification within plants, but you learn something new every day. Next up, we have Rick Raymore, a farmer who uses genetic modified plants in his crops. And he's been doing it for a number of years, so I'll hand over to Rick and he'll give us the farmer's report. Over to you, Rick.
Yeah, like you said, I've been using genetically modified crops for a number of years now. I think, what are we at? Like maybe 5 or so already? Farming for 20 years. Started using genetically modified crops about 5 years ago. You know, out here on the farm, it was an absolute breakthrough when those genetically modified crops came out. The main reason why I love these genetically modified crops right now so much is because they get rid of all those pesticides and herbicides. Somehow those scientists out there, they make it so the bugs don't come around. They make it so those weeds don't affect those plants as much. So, you know, I just want to say I really appreciate those crops. Doesn't expose me and my family to those harsh chemicals near as much anymore, and all my workers out here, you know, appreciate that a lot. I guess for me, another thing, my yields have been up 18% since I started using genetically modified crops. You know, that's huge. That's a good chunk of money for me. So, you know, keeping us safe. Haven't any problems with it yet. You know, hasn't been jumping at all. Keeping us safe. Giving us more money. Hey, what more can I ask for? Hey, back to you. Keep on developing, boys.
Well, thank you for that, Rick. I'm glad to hear these genetic modifications are helping you with your business so much. And for you, I hope these modifications keep coming and keep coming. Next up, we have an Olympic potential level athlete in track and field who's going to come on air with us. And we're going to see what his thoughts on genetic modification are as an athlete, from his own perspective. Cut to Tim.
Hey, what's up everyone watching the Stuff Only? Yeah, as Cam said, I got my sights set in the 2024 Olympics actually. Yeah, I moved here to Canada, what was it now, 16 years ago? Yeah, I moved here 16 years ago from Australia. And, you know, I've been working towards the Olympics in track ever since. You know, for me, one of the most important things in my track and field career is a diet. You know, what I take in is pretty much what I'm going to put out, so I gotta work on it and make sure that I keep myself healthy and keep everything in tip-top condition. So, for me, GM foods and non-GM foods have been a huge struggle that I actually struggled with my entire life so far. You know, some people say, yeah, you gotta eat them, they give you more nutrients, they taste better. But for me, I don't know, I've been having a real tough time with it. I often wonder if genetic modifications will bring the end of the world. You know, you never know how far, if it gets in the wrong hands or the wrong person, you never know how far they're gonna go. And also, I think it's morally wrong to tamper with the genetics of a plant or an animal for that matter. And because of that, you know, I can't support it, so I can't eat it, can't buy it. And for me, it's against my moral compass, so, you know, I try to stay away from it. And that's pretty much my 2 cents on it. So I also challenge those who've been eating GM foods to, you know, just really take some research. You know, try to figure out what's actually in these foods and, you know, really take a deeper look at what might happen in the future if we keep supporting these people who are doing this. So, yeah, back to you, Cam. That's all I got.
Well, that's certainly a different perspective on genetic modification. Well, now that you've heard 2 sides to this story and a bit about how it happens, I'll let that sink in and you can draw your own conclusions on what you think of genetic modification. Because I'll tell you what, I'm going to be more mindful of what goes down my gullet. Now, without further ado, it's time for the weather. Over to you, Tracy.
Tracy Tills here with the forecast for this fine Tuesday. Today it's supposed to be raining all day with a high of 21 degrees Celsius. course, after today, we're expecting an extended period of blue skies. When I say extended, I mean we probably won't get rain till next spring. Luckily, GM crops help combat the drought. They have modifications that help the crops retain water even when we don't get any for long periods of time. Anyway, that's the whole story for weather. It's just gonna be sunny. Back to you in the studio, Cam.
Well, from drought to plants we can use for medical purposes. That's a wrap for the Starphony for this afternoon. Glad you could join us, and as always, form your own opinions, and don't be afraid to share them with us. See you again next time. Starphony out.